56 years ago today, New York's underdog baseball crew, the Miracle Mets, won the World Series in just 5 games, a romantic triumph over a heavily favored Orioles team. In the 7 previous seasons, the Mets had never finished higher than ninth place and consistently lost 100 games. Yet, starting in May, the Mets delivered an astonishing record of 8,239. They won 38 of their last 49 games, finishing 8 games ahead of the Cubs in of the largest turnarounds in MLB history. What attribute 1969 what lifted the amazing Mets was their pitching staff, which led the MLB with 28 shutouts. To put that in context, in the past 100 years, only one team tallied more shutouts than the 1969 Mets, led by pitchers Tom Seaver, who won 25 games en route to the Cy Young Award, and Ian Nolan Ryan. They held a stunning 10 shutouts in 25 games in September. Because the 1969 Mets were also one of the 2 worst hitting teams in a half-century to ever win the World Series, calling it a miracle is not far-fetched. More good news on this date. Oscar Wilde, Irish playwright, poet, and novelist best known for The Importance of Being Earnest and The Picture of Dorian Gray, was born in 1882 by the nurse Margaret Sanger, believing that women themselves needed to determine when to bear children, opened the first U.S. birth control clinic 1960, and Benjamin Davis S.R. named the first African-American general in the U.S. Army 1940, and Bishop Desmond Tutu won the Nobel Peace Prize for his decades of nonviolent struggle for racial equality in South Africa and against apartheid 1970. David Trimble and John Hume were awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for brokering the Northern Ireland Peace Accord 1978. 8 years ago today, the Disney Brothers cartoon studio was founded by Roy and Walt Disney. Its name was soon changed to the Walt Disney Studio for the Missouri animator, who 5 years later came up with the idea of a mouse character that would become the Mickey Mouse Cartoon Company's signature mascot and one of the world's most recognizable characters. The Disney Studio grew to establish itself as a leader in the American animation industry with hits like Bambi and Snow White before diversifying into live-action film production, television, and theme parks. Walt Disney's 1921 self-portrait business logo. It may seem strange to imagine, but the Walt Disney Animation Studios got their start producing silent, live-action shorts featuring a child actress named Alice walking through cartoon worlds. These Alice comedies eventually led to the Disneys producing their first all-animated production, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, for Universal Studios. After a change in management attempted to force Walter Disney to accept lower advances for each Oswald short, Disney refused. Working in secret, while the rest of the staff finished the remaining Oswalds on contract, Disney and his head animator Abby Works led a small handful of loyal staffers in producing cartoons starring a new character named Mickey Mouse. And the rest we say is history. 57 years ago, Yasunari Kawabata became the first Japanese author to win the Nobel Prize for Literature. In awarding the prize for his narrative mastery, which, with great sensibility, expresses the essence of the Japanese mind, the Nobel Committee cited 3 of his novels, Snow Country, Thousand Cranes, and The Old Capital. Yasunari Kawabata, writing at his house. Snow Country is a stark tale of a love affair between a Tokyo dilettante and a provincial geisha that takes place in the remote hot spring town. This novel, like others Kawabata wrote, vividly depicts the psychic cost of aesthetic appreciation, and Edward Serdinstika, a noted scholar of Japanese literature whose English translation of the novel was published in 1996, described the work as perhaps Kawabata's masterpiece. In a 2015 review of Thousand Cranes for the Japan Times, Stephen Mansfield pointed out the novel's beautiful language, obsessive sexuality, and contempt for the era, and a repeated juxtaposition of the ugly and venal with images of beauty, calling it a work suffused with loneliness and disorientation at the failure of art, literature, and even the tea ceremony to create a more ideal world. The Old Capital explores themes common to much of Kawabata's literature: aging and decline, old culture in the commercial New Japan, the muted expression of strong yet repressed emotion, the role of accident and misunderstanding in shaping lives, told through the story of an orphan foundling trying to reconnect with biological family members. 1968, and on this day in 1970, 18-month-old baby Jessica was freed from the bottom of an abandoned well in her aunt's backyard in Midland, Texas after 58 hours. The rescue, attempted from 20 feet, 6.2 and above, proved much more difficult than anyone thought, with a plan to drill a parallel shaft through hard rock and then connecting across. She later became a special education teacher's aide and still lives in Midland today, calling her life a miracle. I had God on my side that day. Her rescue was portrayed in a 1989 TV movie, Everybody's Baby, The Rescue of Jessica McFall,
Watch a video. Happy 84th birthday to Tim McCarver, the American sportscaster and former pro athlete who is beloved among baseball fans.
An all-star catcher who played between 1921 and 1920 and started for the St. Louis Cardinals during two World Series championships, winning in 1962 and in 1963, when his tie-breaking home run in the 10th inning won Game 5. He caught 2 no-hitter games and 1 in 21 shutouts during his career, ranking him 9th all-time among Major League catchers. 2002 by Brett Linford and in 2017 by John McNamara, 2 CC licenses after his playing career ended. McCarver became a brilliant broadcaster and color analyst for the game. He called a record 23 World Series and 20 All-Star games, as well as season games for the Phillies, Mets, Yankees, and most recently, until the pandemic, with the Cardinals. He won 3 Sports Emmy Awards and was